Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another episode here on the Shamblecraft server. And we've actually reached, believe it or not, episode 40. And I do have to start by apologising for the long wait between 39 and 40. But as you can probably tell from my voice, I have been sick. My entire family's been sick for about a week and a half. And that has sadly made it impossible for me to record. However, that does not mean that we haven't done anything. So while I've been sick and unable to record, I have still been playing a bit. And as you can see on screen now, we've actually been doing some off-camera work. So we have reclaimed some land on the infamous Spawn Island, and we've actually laid a plan on how to extend this island slightly in order to make room for more builds, and that is something that we're going to get back to in a future episode. However, we have also done a tiny bit of work in the Nether, where we have now started putting down more of the green carpet, which is supposed to look like grass. So yeah, overall, a lot of things happening. And also, we have continued work on the storage area. And I'm actually going to take you down there first, before we move on. So down here, you can see that the storage area is looking good. Not really that many changes since last time. However, we now have this thing right here. And again, apologies if my voice is cracking and a bit sore. So basically now we have these community input barrels, and this is where we can dump massive amounts of items, and that will now go in through a sorting system and end up down here. And as you saw in episode 39, I think it was, we put in all the filters. Johnny has now gone through them and cleaned it up a bit. So now you can see here that it is collecting items, and for some reason that shulker box has a dispenser in it, but it is now, what it's doing is it's taking all of the cobblestone, it's putting it into shulker boxes and putting it here. And you can see here as well, we now have a bunch of shulker boxes of stone. We have a couple of shulker boxes of the smooth stone. We actually have some granite, diorite. We basically have a little bit of everything. We even have a full shulker box of sandstone. And actually no dirt yet. Or is this supposed to be I think that's supposed to be mycelium. Oh well. But yeah. And some of this is still being manually sorted. But yeah, that is the storage system mostly taken care of. And also up here, we have the monstrosity, that is the multi-item sorter, at the ready, meaning we now will get the different types of wool, the different types of concrete powder, glass and everything in these. So yeah, but that is pretty much the community storage hall. What we're going to do, we need to head to the Nether shopping district, because I've actually heard rumours that we've made some sales. Okay then, so we are at the Redstone Express here. I've actually been doing a little bit of restocking. I've actually restocked the dispensers quite recently, and the observers, because we were running low on those. And we can see that we've actually made a bunch of sales on the droppers. We actually sold out all we had of observers, but that's already been gathered a couple of days ago. And we can see we've actually sold some pistons. We've sold some sticky pistons. And that we've sold one stack there, half stack. We've sold some there. Sold some there. And yeah, okay, we're out of hoppers. Okay, so hoppers is one of the things that we are selling a lot of, and despite the price being quite affordable, so what I've well, not really that affordable, was what I was going to say. So what we're going to do now, we're going to restock the hoppers. I actually spent a little time this morning crafting up some hoppers, so we would have more of them. And I can already tell that I've brought more than enough. But yeah, hopefully with this, we are now going to have more than enough hoppers. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave these in there. We actually have... Didn't I have some sticky pistons? Yeah, we have some more sticky pistons as well, so we're going to restock some of that. Oops. And yeah, it helps a little bit. So what we can do then, we can take out our valuables shulker and we can deposit all of the diamonds into that, meaning we now have 24 diamond blocks and 45 diamonds, which is not bad. We actually have a couple of netherite why do I have eggs? I have so much weird stuff in my shulker box. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring these shulker boxes down and we're going to put them all in here, because those are basically our restocking shulker boxes. We can bring in that as well. And whoa, oh right, yeah, of course, sorry. So what we are going to do, now that this place has been restocked and we've gathered the diamonds, I'm actually going to go back down and we are going to quickly take care of one of the chests here, because one of these chests, I think maybe Johnny has started sorting it out. Yeah, it's probably this one. It's going to be like starter gear. So I think I've already mentioned this. I'm not going to go into big detail, but basically when you show up as a new player, this is where you'll end up. This is where you can grab some starter gear and some armor and stuff, and yeah. But with that taken care of, that is pretty much all that's been going on here. And as I said, apologies for the very long wait between episodes, but I have, as you can tell, and as I've said, I've been sick. Haven't had any voice. I even had to take a couple of days off work and just spend like 3 full days not even talking to rest my voice. But I am doing better now, thank you very much. And also, I have been working on my thesis. As you know, I am currently finishing my master's degree, and my thesis is due in 8 weeks. And I basically just finished the last sort of checkpoint hand-in before that, which has taken up a lot of time. But yeah, we have reached episode 40. Finally, it has taken me way too long to start making it, so apologies once again, but sometimes real life just has to take precedence. But what we're going to do now is we're going to head over to our base, because that is where we're going to be working in this episode. Well, you join me outside the base, where, as you can see, and probably remember from the last episode, finished most of the terraforming. So what we really need to do now is we need to figure out what do we want to do here. And what I was thinking was, well, over there on the main island, we do plan on building a little dock area with like a lighthouse and some stuff. So I was thinking, what if I made sort of like a twin build over here with a lighthouse, a little dock area, like a little port. And if we look at the map, we can see here that this island that we've sort of made here... Could you not while I'm talking? Thank you. As you can see on the map here, we have this nice little island here that I think could make a nice little village of sorts. And we have this hill that is up here, which I think would be a good place to put some sort of... I'm not going to say castle, but some sort of like, this is where you would have the, I don't know what to call it even, the sort of the biggest house, the head house, I don't know, the house where the rich dude who owns the place would live, and then the rest of it would be covered with like smaller buildings, roads, paths, that sort of thing. And down here, I was thinking maybe some sort of market, either down there or up here, have some sort of market. And then in the front here, I would love to have a little dock area. So if you look at the map again, I would say this area here would be good for a dock. And the thing that I am wondering, though, is if you look here, you can see that we almost have like a little cove here leading out to that island there. And I was thinking, well, what if we basically grab our shulker boxes of dirt and just bring these two together, because that would create a nice little bay, which would probably look very good if we put some docks and stuff in it. So what I think I'm going to do, first of all, is get my shulker boxes of dirt, and we'll see if we can make that cove. Well, okay then, viewers, so as you could probably tell from that little time lapse there, we have gotten some work done. So what I've basically started doing now is I have made the little cove over here, and I've started putting in some foundations and what appears to be a couple of paths. And some of these are bigger and you might not really get what they are, so I'll try to explain what I'm going for here. So basically I'm thinking all of these are going to be small houses where villagers can live. This here is going to be like some sort of old temple, and I also have some plans for some of the other spots here as well. And I think maybe it's time to reveal my grand plan. And that is, well, first we have to go back in time a little bit. So, some of you who have been following me for a while might remember that about 2 years ago, I did a series of streams from the LPMT server belonging to Assumevoid. And on that server, I started building a village. And that village was a project that I never really got to finish. I had a lot of stuff made, but I never properly finished it. So off camera yesterday, I downloaded the LPMT world and I have imported some of the buildings. So this is the original watchtower, that is one of the original halls, and over there is the original market. And that is just some of the buildings. I actually saved around 10 schematics, and what I plan on doing is to do what I never really had the time to do on LPMT, and that is I am going to not only rebuild the Viking village, but I am going to finally finish it. But this means some changes. There were some things in the Viking village I was never 100% happy with. One of them was the main building. I felt like that became too boring and predictable. And I honestly preferred all the sort of side buildings that I did. Like, for instance, here you can see in schematic form the original marketplace. It even has the original sign for Taribo's spidery bits. And over here is one of the huts that I made that eventually turned into a little hall where we had some various bits and bobs. And also, I plan on bringing back some of the ships and some of the other stuff that was in the original LPMT village. So yeah, that is really the next plan here. So, I mean, I knew that for episode 40 I had to do something special, and I think actually bringing back, you know, the first project that I really worked on and finally finishing it, I think that is something that would be really cool. And with the schematics, I will be able to actually rebuild this pretty much the way I built it. I am going to do some changes, like to the palette. For instance, the watchtower over there was very dark oaky, and I may end up using a slightly lighter form of wood. But I have to say, I really like the sort of old style, sort of almost like beta style building of cobblestone and oak. And I think actually these materials are something that I'm going to be using more of in this village, because that is really what I want this to be. I want this to be like a very old school village that I've sort of just plopped my base next to. And that also brings me to the base. I might actually end up changing some of the base a little bit. I haven't really decided, but the more I look at it, that's one of the reasons I haven't really worked that much on the base recently, is because honestly, I think maybe I want to do some slight changes to it. But that is something I'm going to have to get back to. And also, I've made this little ledge here. This is where we're going to do the bridge that goes up to a little sort of ledge cave thing up there. That is going to be the entrance to the main base. But yeah, so we have the schematics ready. We have the plan ready. So I think all we need to do now is to get all the blocks we need and yeah, get cracking. Alrighty then, viewers. So, a bunch of work has been done. It's actually been a couple of days since my last recording session. But as you can probably tell, a lot of work has been done. And actually, having a look here, you can see that actually most of this area here is really starting to get there. So what we have here is a little sort of marketplace that is going to be accessible. So you have 3 single stalls here. You have sort of the public market in the middle here. So I need to do that. I need to get some sort of gravel or dirt for that bit. And going in here, this is where the sort of big market is going to be. So if you don't have like a bunch of stuff you want to sell that you need a stall for, you can just use the single chests. And yeah, so just basically going to make some paths going past here. And I think that sort of is this general area for now. And this is going to lead to a path that goes down here, where you can probably tell that we've also been working, and we now have most of sort of this farm area ready. We have the general layout of the barn here, but you can see that still needs we still need to do some work. We need to remove these chests, but we do have the farms in. They've grown in. We've covered all of this with oak trees, so we're going to be making some more of those once we get saplings. And over here you can see that we've actually built up the shell of the boat and the tower. So yeah, a good start to this project here. Actually not a project I was anticipating to do. It's something that's been on my list as a sort of maybe later kind of project, but I'm very glad I started doing it, because it is a sort of project that I've kind of been thinking about for a while and I really wanted to do. But it's sort of dawned on me that this might be a bit of a confusing project if you are not familiar with my previous videos and streams. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to very quickly hop on to a downloaded world file and show you what all of this is about. Well, okay then, viewers, you join me as I sort of just float above what was once my LPMT base, and you might see that there's some pillars here and there. That is where I have been copying the schematics. And this right here, this was actually my base for the longest time. This was actually where I built up my first base. This is where, I don't know exactly how long I spent here actually. Probably like 8-9 months. And this was actually a massive project, because you might not be able to tell, but this was actually a series of islands that was gradually terraformed into one landmass. And it was sort of my way of trying to build something that was a bit sort of big in the style of builds, like the sort of Viking houses in the back there are quite big, but at the same time to sort of pay homage to the traditional style of Minecraft that I prefer. So you can see that here with the manual farms, quite big. I honestly had forgotten how big this place was until I flew back in. A bunch of cool little bits here and there, like this statue here. I honestly can't remember who built it, and that annoys me a bit. So if anyone of you actually remember who built that, let me know. And here we have the main hall. This is where I used to land with my elytra. And this here, and yeah, nice little hall here. And going below, you can actually in creative mode I can walk. Down here you will find the storage system, and I've actually referenced this in a previous video. This is the storage system that I recreated on Shamblecraft. This is the same storage system right here, and I actually broke through here. There's actually should be a hole somewhere. Maybe they fixed it. But I think here we go. I punched through here so I could have a look at how it was, because I wanted to copy it to somewhere else. So yeah, this was really where it all started. This was a place that was very dear to me, and you can see here you have the skylight fountain that I was very happy with. You had the Welsh Knight style soup smelter, one of the first redstone contraptions that I built completely by myself from scratch. You had this building here that started off as a sort of storage space for heads, but eventually I moved that to the top because it outgrew the space I'd given it. And that brings us to this building right here, which was the Hall of Heads. And this is where I kept the heads of all the players on the LPMT server. There's a bunch of names here that I remember fondly, like Mika from Denmark. You had Aiton, who I played a lot with. You had Binky, who I've talked to now and then. Of course, you have Wolfie and Badger, who you all know. You have Marth. You have Pony. Several names here that you might remember. Taribo was also someone who drifted over to Shamblecraft with us. And of course, you have the Dark Lord himself right here. That head I actually got on a stream, and it was quite hilarious. But yeah, so this is what it's all about, and recreating this like building by building, like completely like a shot for shot remake. I don't think that would be all that fun and all that original. So what I've decided to do, as you can probably tell previously in this video, is that I'm now basically copying over the bits and pieces I like the most, like this tower here. Like the ship, like that house over there that we haven't rebuilt yet, and the shipyard that I am eventually going to rebuild as well. But yeah, so this is where it started, and I figured, given that at the time of when I started recording this, it was actually 2 years since my return to streaming and recording, and one of the first things I showcased on stream was actually that market over there. That market there was one of, if not the first, on-stream builds that I ever did. And I remember it was so cool. So many people sort of came over and helped, pitched in ideas. I mean, it's not really that big of a build, but it was so cool to have people come over like, oh, this is such a good idea. This is a nice little thing. This is going to be cool. And to even have Azuma himself pop over here and have a look. Yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, hopefully this we can manage to reincarnate some of this on the Shamblecraft server, because it is a really cool build, and I'm very sad that I never got to finish it. So hopefully we can get some closure by bringing the best bits that we were happy with over to Shamblecraft and finishing it there. Alrighty then, so that is a little trip to the past there. Oh, dang it. That is a little trip to the past there. And yeah, from the top here, you can see that this place is really coming together. And I think this is going to be really, really cool once we finish it. I have a bunch of ideas of what to put here. So this is basically going to be the Viking village, as you just saw, but it's going to be more compressed. It's not going to be that big, but I might end up taking advantage of some of the spaces back here that currently aren't rendered, and maybe also the spaces over here, to hopefully make this a really, really cool build. But yeah, with that taken care of, this episode has first of all taken a lot longer than I wanted to make, so sorry about that. But as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I have been very busy with university stuff, and I've been sick. This episode has actually taken me more than 2 weeks to record, which is ridiculous. But hopefully we are getting back into the spring of things here. So yeah, spring of things? Did I just say swing of things? I'm supposed to be an English teacher, I should know this. But anyway, that is enough for now. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll catch you, hopefully not too long, in the next episode. But for now, take care, and goodbye! My penthouse is glitching in the background.